You ever feel like we're living in a Wag the Dog movie / Truman Show / Tron? Maybe add in a little bit of Hellraiser, a little bit of The Matrix, The 13th Floor. I got to tell you what, after a friend of mine today sent me a link to a chemtrail plane that was supposedly shot down above China, he was pretty disturbed. And I was too, but I said, okay, let me take a look at this. And I went to the link and I read it and I said, this sounds like propaganda to me. And it also sounds like something I read about just a couple years ago. It's titled Chemtrail Plane Shot Down Above China. You can read this on Disclose TV /news. And it says, reports circulating in the Kremlin today are stating that a U.S. government contracted airplane piloted by American CIA agents and carrying a cargo of mutated swine flu virus intended for aerial spraying was shot down at China's Shanghai Pudong Airport by a saboteur team of what are believed to be Israeli Mossad soldiers seeking to prevent an American attack upon one of their Central Asian bases located in the Central Asian nation of Kyrgyzstan. I probably said that name of that country wrong. I apologize. So then underneath that it says U.S. government contracted airplane was shot down by Israeli Mossad soldiers. And this is supposed to be just breaking news. If you scroll down to the bottom of this page, I'll be right here. You can see all of these comments are just a few days old. 5 days old, 3 days old, 4 days old, 3 days old, 2 days old. There's nothing more than 3 days or 5 days old here if we go up to the very top. So, okay, this is supposed to be new news. It's not. Take a look at this. This article is from 2014 on breakingdownthenews.com. Sunday 6th, April 14th, CIA plane that sprayed chemtrails virus shot down in China. CIA plan to exterminate 90% of the human population. This means you and your kids. Now, I remember reading this article, you guys, back in 2014. And there was also a couple movies that came out at that time that were portraying the chemtrails, turning people into zombies, essentially. And there were a few immunes that were like superhumans that were able to survive the cataclysm and rebuild Earth, yada, yada. So let's read this article here. From reports circulating in the Kremlin today, it is found that a U.S. government aircraft piloted by CIA agents and carrying a cargo of swine flu virus modified, designed to be sprayed into the air, was shot down near the Chinese Pudong, Shanghai, by a group of saboteurs who were thought to be part of the Israelite soldiers of the Mossad, thus trying to prevent a U.S. attack on one of their bases located in Central Asia, particularly in the state of Kyrgyzstan. It's the same thing. This is from 2014. Okay, well, let's take this a step further. Let's go back to 2012. Bingo! Disclose TV /forum /chemtrail. Same thing. CIA-operated aerial spraying plane carrying mutated virus shot down in China. Same thing. Reports circulating in the Kremlin today are stating that a U.S. government contracted airplane piloted by American CIA agents and carrying a cargo of the mutated swine flu virus intended for aerial spraying was shot down at China's Shanghai Pudong Airport by a saboteur team of what are believed to be the Israeli Mossad soldiers seeking to prevent an American attack upon one of their Central Asian bases. It's the same freaking thing. Okay, so 2012. Let's take this back a step further. Boom! 2009 by none other than Sorchafel. Or Sorchafal. Sounds like sort of fell to me. I mean, seriously? Can you not see that? Here, look at this. November 30th, 2009. Sorchafal, sort of fell, and as reported by our Western subscribers. Reports circulating in the Kremlin today are stating that the U.S. government contracted airplane piloted by American CIA agents and carrying a cargo of mutated swine flu virus intended for aerial spraying was shot down, photo at the top left, at China's Shanghai Pudong Airport by a saboteur team of what are believed to be Israeli Mossad soldiers seeking to prevent an American attack upon one of their Central Asian bases, located in, you guess it, Central Asia. I mean, come on, guys. But everything on the internet is true. I mean, seriously, bonjour. Now take a look at this. We go back to the Wikipedia accounts here, the 2009 flu pandemic in Ukraine, and you read through this, and you see how many people versus how many vaccines. All right, so over 1 million people essentially got some type of flu symptoms. They made 12.5 million doses of vaccines against the swine flu because 67 people died out of over 1 million people that supposedly got the flu, the swine flu, that is. 52,000 were hospitalized, 67 of them died, and 12.5 million vaccines were given. Now let's look at the side effects of the people that were given the vaccines. How many more people had serious problems and still do to this day from that vaccine that was supposed to save them? And you guys know this had a lot to do with the elections, right? The Ukrainian elections, this totally caused a headspin for the politics out there. That was a presidential year. You can read about that. You know, if you type in Ukraine 40K swine flu, I typed this in because somebody told me that 40,000 people got swine flu now in the Ukraine, and I did some research, and no, not at all. 300 people in a little over 4 months have been killed by swine flu. You can go to theindependent.co.uk and read about it. Here's an article that came out in January. Swine flu exposes Ukraine's health flaws on BBC News. You can read about it if you click that link there. And they're just rehashed articles over and over and over. You guys, they're laughing at us. They're laughing at us. While you guys are worrying, well, I used to worry. I was the guy that used to freak out over this kind of stuff. I would lose sleep over it. I would get furious. You have no idea. I mean, you guys have heard me go on a couple rants before. Times that by 10. Add a few shots of espresso, and that's what I felt like 3/4 of the day and night. So, you know, I took a step back and I said, you know what? There's got to be more to this. They're keeping us on edge for a reason. And it's all games. It's experiments. It's little rituals that they play at these higher levels where they think they're elitists and smarter than we are and can do basically whatever they want. And you know what? They're kind of showing that they can, aren't they? At least they think so. Here's another 2009 flu pandemic. Just type in 2009 flu Ukraine elections and you can read all about it. You know, here's another article. U.S. reaction to swine flu, apt and lucky. Essentially, they're saying back in 2009, we had a pandemic and we were able to prevent it. About 10,000 people had died by mid-November, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention estimated. Now, how many of those 10,000 people were already extremely sick and had compromised immune systems is what I'd like to know. How many of them were elderly and were maybe going out anyway? I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but seriously, there's people that die every single year of the flu. A lot of people die every year of the flu. So, and it talks about here how even though it was a pandemic, it was nowhere near the forecast of 30 to 90,000 deaths made in August by the President's Council of Advisors of Science and Technology. So once again, it's, you know, let's freak everybody out. Let's sell them a bunch of vaccines, make a bunch of money on our products, make people sick so they have to get more treatments that might cause more issues down the road. I mean, you guys know how it goes. This isn't anything new to many of you, but let's look at a list of some of the epidemics here, according to Wikipedia, some real epidemics. If you go back, here, let's look at 1500 to 1699. Look at that. Viral fever there, 5 to 15 million people, 80% of the population. That's a pandemic. And here's another one, 1576, when they were still hurting, 2 to 2.5 million, 50%, same thing. That's a pandemic. Let's go a little bit further here. Look at this, 30 to 90% of the population in southern New England. Wow, look at that. Bubonic plague, influenza, smallpox, chickenpox. Now that's a pandemic right there. Let's see if we can get into something a little bit more recent here. Let's go to the 1900s. 19th century here. One million people in Russia. 1852 to 1860. Now let's go to the 20th century here. 75 million people. The 1918 flu pandemic, 75 million. That is a pandemic. 2 million people in 57 and 58, the Asian flu. That is a pandemic. Hong Kong, million people, influenza. So 67 people dying from 1.5 million or over 1 million people getting infected with the flu. That is not a pandemic in my opinion. I'd like to see the tolls and the statistics of how many people have had serious side effects and health issues after they got vaccinated. Unbelievable, you guys. Welcome to the New World Order. Now, here's another one that I want to go into with you guys. You might not like this. That's okay. Not everybody has to like me. Look at this. Putin tells Obama to Nibiru. I just typed that in. You guys have all read this article about how supposedly Putin warns Obama, you better tell the world about Nibiru or I will. And then he gets threatened. Oh, we're going to nuke you, Putin. We're not going to let you tell them about Nibiru. Okay, well, guess what? I did some research. I went into the search tools here, and you can type in a custom range of a time frame. And this isn't even the worst. Look at this right here. It gets better. Here's another. Oh, no. Russia orders Obama, tell the world about aliens or we will. 2013, 2015. I mean, come on. Rehash, 2014. This is the one I was talking about right here. I copied and pasted part of that article. It just came out. Let's pull it right up here. Here we go. See this article from 2016, July 9th, at endingthefed.com. Putin warns Obama, tell the world about Nibiru, or I will. I clicked on that link. I took an excerpt. I took a little, I copied and pasted a sentence, essentially. Put it up here in the search box. Hit the search tools, a custom date range from January 1st, 2010 to December 31st, 2012. The exact same. You can see, read it right here. Okay? This article is from November 18th, 2011, you guys. Right there. Welcome to the New World Order, where you don't know what to believe. And once you think you got the truth, you find out that could be a total lie. Why do you think I'm agnostic, folks? Why do you think most of the time I say I don't know, even if I think I do know? Because it doesn't really matter what I think anyway. And half the time when you think you know what's going on, you find out that it's just rehashed intel that's been talked about for years. So you got to do the research before you go and tell everybody the end of the world is going to come up, because that's just fallen into their plan. And if you do believe in this dark archetype behind the scenes that feeds off of people's fears and energies, well, how much are they feeding off of this right now? This is the kind of stuff that goes parabolic. One person reads it, he puts it on his Facebook page, then 10 other people pick it up, put it on their Facebook page. By the time you know it, 50,000 people have looked at it. They're freaking out. They think the end of the world is going to show up. And this is what the powers that be want. They want that fear or flight mode, because you're a lot easier to control when you're scared. They can already predict with over 90% accuracy where you're going to go based upon your cell phone. Think about that for a minute. Over 90% accuracy with software and a basic computer can predict where you're going to go. Now, if you look at some of the computers out there today that are running 90 quadrillion floating points per second, combine that with cutting edge software and all your search history, all your phone records, all your everything, any of this stuff, any of the data that these algorithms have picked up on you and compiled. Imagine this. Imagine a sim simulator here. We're going to go on the woo-woo section here for a minute, but how easy would this be to create? Come up with a software program that would essentially take all the information ever, digital imprint on somebody, medical records, friends, a real serious background check. Beyond background check. Get into blood types, astrologicals or signs, you name it. What books they've read, what they Twitter, what they Facebook, what they read, what they write, what they like, what they don't like. Take it all together, create a sim of that individual. You could set up an entire world of people, and then you could predict where these people are going to go on these algorithms and predictive programming. We had Doc Ram on yesterday, and he was describing how they've got supercomputers out now that are far beyond anything that many of us have been told about, that can predict our movements better than we can. It's fascinating. Anyway, check out leakproject.com. If you subscribe to Leak Project, you'll get access to exclusive content. Also, youtube.com/clandestine Time Lord. We have a new channel now. It's the William Wallace channel. You can link on there from our YouTube homepage. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and be the change you want to see. This is Rex Bear. Talk to you soon. You ever feel like we're living in a Wag the Dog movie / Truman's Show / Tron? Maybe add in a little bit of Hellraiser, a little bit of The Matrix, the 13th floor. I got to tell you what, after a friend of mine today sent me a link to a chemtrail plane that was supposedly shot down above China, he was pretty disturbed. And I was too, but I said, okay, let me take a look at this. And I went to the link and I read it and I said, this sounds like propaganda to me. And it also sounds like something I read about just a couple years ago. It's titled Chemtrail Plane Shot Down Above China. You can read this on Disclose TV /news. And it says, reports circulated in the Kremlin today are stating that a U.S. government contracted airplane piloted by American CIA agents and carrying a cargo of mutated swine flu virus intended for aerial spraying was shot down at China's Shanghai Pudong Airport by a saboteur team of what are believed to be Israeli Mossad soldiers seeking to prevent an American attack upon one of their Central Asian bases located in the Central Asian nation of Kyrgyzstan. I probably said that name of that country wrong. I apologize. So then underneath that, it says U.S. government contracted airplane was shot down by Israeli Mossad soldiers. And this is supposed to be just breaking news. If you scroll down to the bottom of this page, I'll be right here. You can see all of these comments are just a few days old. 5 days old, 3 days old, 4 days old, 3 days old, 2 days old. There's nothing more than 3 days or 5 days old here if we go up to the very top. So, okay, this is supposed to be new news. It's not. Take a look at this. This article is from 2014 on breakingdownthenews.com. Sunday 6, April 14th, CIA plane that sprayed chemtrails virus shot down in China. CIA plan to exterminate 90% of the